Maia Emmons-Boring was a typical wife and mother until an at-home DNA test turned her life upside down. She opened the door to a family secret that would change their dynamic forever and led her on a search for answers. Maia Emmons-Boring was always close to her family. At a young age, they traded the mountains for Disneyland, relocating from Grand Junction, Colorado to California. It was just their little family leaving their relatives and a secret behind. And then last year, on a whim,
and I thought it would be fun to know exactly where my ancestors came from. Ancestry had is special.
Ancestry.com's DNA results revealed nothing that surprising.
I was mostly English and German like I had expected.
Yet not long after, on New Year's Eve, she received a message from a stranger.
So I opened the email, and it was from a woman saying that we were a close familial match and were likely half-sisters.
But that wasn't all.
And I just lost it. I started sobbing. I'm thinking my dad is not my biological father. It was devastating.
She decided to ask her mom.
At first she said no, and then my dad, who's very quiet and reserved, says he kind of interrupted her and said, no, yes, we did use a sperm donor to conceive you and Tawny.
The daughter of a father she doesn't know. But that's not all. Ancestry kept finding family matches. At least 10 half-siblings born between 1976 and 1997 with the same DNA from an unknown father. Maia suspected a link. They each had mothers who sought fertility treatment from Dr. Paul Jones of Grand Junction, Colorado.
I thought he was doing a good thing for me and my sweet husband, who's so kind, like the girls said. They couldn't have a better father, period.
As Cheryl's doctor, he even helped deliver Maia and her sister. She says Dr. Jones told her he used anonymous sperm donors.
He said that there were medical students, at the St. Mary's, and so anyway, one thing led to another, and we said, okay.
But a lawsuit filed Monday maintains Dr. Jones leaned on no students for help. Instead, quote, he used his own fresh sperm to artificially inseminate Cheryl Emmons prior to Cheryl giving birth to both her sister and Maia.
I want to hear his voice. I don't know why, but that's important to me.
9 News reporter Chris Vanderveen went to question Dr. Jones.
Hi, I'm Chris Vanderveen with 9 News. Have you seen this DNA test?
Well, no, but what difference does it make?
Did you father these children?
That's an impertinent question.
Why is that an impertinent question?
Because I'm not going to answer it.
Do you think at some time you're going to answer this question?
Maybe in court, under oath.
Only his DNA he has so far refused to give, could prove or disprove the allegations.
Would you give a DNA sample?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't want to have any incriminating evidence against me.
Leaving a daughter on a search for answers.
We are joined now by Maia Emmons-Boring. Maia, first of all, I want to thank you for being so generous with your story. I know that you're right in the middle of it, so that can't be easy, and this is your first live interview, so thank you for trusting us with your story. But how do you feel when you see Dr. Jones being confronted like that?
Disgusted, hurt. He looks like a kid that got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. And it's really hard. I mean, that's more than likely that's my biological father.
So you do feel like that's probably your father?
Yes, without a doubt. In my mind, I feel that is my biological father. Yes.
Wow. All right, now you filed a lawsuit against Dr. Jones Monday. The story broke recently. Our sister station on KUSA is out in the open now. I just want to know, this show is super about being real and authentic. Right now, you're in the middle of it, as Erica said. How are you coping? How is your mom coping? And how is your community sort of pulling together? Are they helping you?
Yeah, I'm coping minute by minute, literally. I can't believe that I'm actually doing this sort of thing, being on the news, being here. My mom is struggling a lot. And
which is totally acceptable.
Yes,
normal.
She feels a lot of guilt, and her anxiety is manifested into physical, issues that she's having, and so far our community has been super, super supportive since the story broke on Monday, which we're really grateful for.
Wow. Do you have mixed emotions when you see Dr. Jones, knowing or thinking that there's a possibility, a strong possibility that he's your biological father?
Yeah, it's hard knowing that someone that is capable of doing these things and deceiving all these families is half of my DNA. You know, he's half of who I am, and you kind of question the nature versus nurture thing.
And what did you say? You said to me you kind of wanted to just hear him, right?
Yeah, I wanted to hear his voice. I don't know why I felt so strongly about that, but then when I heard his voice on Chris's interview, it just made me angry because what he had to say was ridiculous, in my opinion.
Let's call it. It was
yes.
BS.
Yes.
Yeah, let's say it for real.
I just find it interesting that he left the shadow of the doubt open. Generally, when you're confronted that way, you don't say things like, I'll be honest under oath, or
incriminating evidence against me. Come on.
Right.
Before the break, we learned the story of Maia Emmons-Boring, whose at-home DNA test helped reveal her mother's fertility doctor could be her biological father. And joining us now, the investigative reporter who broke the story, Chris Vanderveen, from our sister station here in Denver, KUSA. Now, Chris, you spoke with Dr. Jones. You actually confronted him.
We talked to him at his house. We found him there, and we wanted to ask him a few questions. We've been trying to ask him questions and his lawyer questions for a number of months. This wasn't something we just did on a whim. We had approached him, we had called him, we had called his attorneys, and we were not getting any response back, so we just decided we're just going to show up at his house.
Good for you, Chris.
And that's what we did.
Good for you.
So how does that work? Because I'm sure a lot of folks at home are like, is this like a stakeout situation? Like, do you know what his day is like?
Well, we knew a little bit about where he lived, and we just wanted to see if we could find him, and it just so happened the first time we went by his house, he was there in his garage. Wow. And we just decided that was going to be the time to ask him some questions.
So I'm just looking at this from an outsider's perspective. Is there any chance that you guys think that he could not possibly be the father? It kind of seems like he is.
I think in some ways that's a question for Maia. I think the evidence is pointing in that direction. Maia's lawsuit says that directly, that he's the father. I think there's some questions that all of the siblings have, that you all have, that you'd like answers to. Yeah. What would you like the most? I mean, what do you want to see the most?
I would like his DNA.
Right.
You know, there's only one way to clear it up, and that's through his DNA. Plus, with his DNA, if it proves he's the biological father, then that gives us our health history that we are entitled to.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I don't want to cut you off, but this kind of affected my life as well. In the last couple of years, my mother, who was a victim of sexual assault when she was 14, was forced to have the child, and then was taken from her because that's what happened in Mississippi back then, and she actually was reunited with her daughter in the last 3 years. And so I gained a sister, so I do understand.
Wow.
And I look at my mom at 70 years old, and even though she's still spry and in the prime of her life, I feel like this has helped her become whole. So I hope you do get the answers that you seek, because once you do, you can move forward. I mean, we're looking at your gorgeous family off camera here, and your mom, and just understand that family is who's around you, not just your DNA.
Yes.
I have a question for you. This is sort of off the top of my head here. Do the 10 of you all agree? The 10 siblings, are you all in agreement if we want that DNA? Is there someone that doesn't want to know?
No, we're all in agreement.
You're all in agreement.
Yes.
Wow.
Which we're very fortunate to all seem to be on the same page.
Right, support system almost right there.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, we're very fortunate.
Wow.
And you know what's interesting is that the doctor could answer all of these questions today, if he wanted to. And what I found interesting is that he simply does not want to give up his DNA right now.
He's a coward.
Maybe there's a reason for that. But he could provide an answer to Maia and her other half-siblings today, tomorrow, as soon as he wants to. And right now he's choosing not to do that. No.
I mean, after what Al has said, especially about family and the idea of being felt whole, is there even a tiny little percentage of you that feels like maybe it was better before I knew, or do you feel like there was something out there that was always missing? No,
I never had an idea that I was donor conceived, and I would in a heartbeat go back and not take that ancestry DNA test. Wow. It's totally turned everything upside down. And I feel a lot of guilt because just because I took that DNA test, now my whole family is having to deal with this.
Yeah. Well,
It's not
you
your fault, though.
are
You know
so
that.
brave.
Yeah, and they tell me that, but it's
not your fault.
hard.
It's not your
hard
fault. It's
to.
not your fault.
We appreciate you being so generous with your story. And Chris, thank you so much for coming on and talking, because that was just a very fascinating confrontation to begin with. So we'll be following your story.
Of course.
Thank you both for joining us. If you want to learn more about this story, go to KUSA.com.